we reduce the definition of health to mediocrity. That means you don't have diseases, you're healthy, and that is not correct. So Sadhguru, do something in a week, or else I'm going to Himalayas.
So making of kali, making of biosalt, which is used to retain the prana in this.
Having Devi next to me and just that lamb, I just did not even realize I was living with rats.
Why Hanuman in the first place?
In a way, at one point, it was a dream project for Sadhguru. So yes, I'm also going to be part of the Pratishta, and it's an opportunity for everybody else also.
Namaskaram everyone. This is a special video. We have done a podcast for the first time, and our guest is Nishant Anna, who is the founder of Pranava Kshetra. He also happens to be an Isha meditator and was a volunteer for Rally for Rivers and Isha's Model Village projects. In this podcast, he shares his journey, how he is creating Model Village focused on self-sustenance, online pranic lifestyle classes, consecrations, and much more. There is a Hanuman Temple consecration coming up at Pranava Kshetra. He also shares details about how we can be a part of the consecration. Please do watch till the end and show your support. Namaskaram Anna.
Namaskaram Akka, Namaskaram Anna. Very good to see you. Namaskaram, 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 Namaskaram.
We are really glad to have you on our podcast. I know you must be really busy. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
This is our first attempt in doing a podcast, and we are very honored to have you as our first guest.
No. Thank you very much. I feel privileged to be on your podcast. So thank you very much. Thank you. Good to see both of you here after so long.
Let's start if we could start from the beginning, Anna. So, how did Pranava Kshetra come about? And just a little bit of background about yourself, which led you to create Pranava Kshetra.
So the journey began, I think, at a very young age, where I didn't really trust or believe in any of the religions or practices or traditions, really culture, everything to do with what we know today. I didn't trust just because people didn't answer, there were no answers. And at a very young age, we moved to Canada as a family. So that belief system within myself grew more because now you have more people who are not able to answer. So there was my first guru when I was 16. His name is Arkaji from Mysuru. He kind of opened up the doors within me to the spirituality. Again, he spoke in very simpler terms because that's what spirituality is, because it's happening around us, right in front of us. We just don't have the eyes to see and the perception. So he told me about sun, like what sun is, very basic, like he's happening right in front of us. So that's how it all began. And I think he gave me a seed to, it just started to grow. And I started to get into the finer details of life without unconsciously from that point on. And by the time I was 25, I decided this is it. The time has come for me to go full time into seeking clarity in life. So there was an incident that happened when I was 25, I think, yeah. So in 2014, that's when it happened, in November. I just went to sleep one day and just woke up as a completely different human being. And I still don't know what happened that night. I still can't explain it. But it's not like I was lacking something materially also. Everything was perfect. Uh, Dream job, everything was good. Materially, everything was fine. Satisfied within myself that I was doing, studying whatever I wanted to study, living by myself, everything was great. Family is more or less like settled and everything. So at that point, this was when I was in the US. So this deep question arose within me, like what is happening? So the quest led me to different places to seek answers. The first place was ISKCON, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna place. It was New Vrindavan in Tennessee or Virginia.
In the US.
In the US, everything started from the US only, yeah. And then a couple of months later, I went to Vipassana. This was in Chicago. And then I went to Ramakrishna Mutt there itself. And I tried different places and just listening to a lot. At one point, the trust flipped 180. What I didn't used to believe,
Okay.
now I'm starting to get answers from there, right? So from a very
So
young
it was
age,
like as you explore, started seeing
that's it. Yeah,
things
as I
on a
explore,
different.
yeah, exactly. Because I think what happened when I was younger was there was nobody, and internet was not there. That's the biggest difference. For us to know that there are so many people with the answers, we just did not know them, right? Access was a difficult thing, especially in India at the time. And as the internet became a little more popular, all these gurus have become more prominent on internet, and we're able to get answers right away. So it's still an intellectual quest at the end of the day. So there's still something deep within to experience it. Right. So Vipassana provided that experiential element, but there's still more. I understood that much. And that's when again the exploration began. And it's like Neti. Neti means not this, not this. So I was just doing, okay, this is not the place. This is not the place. This is not the place. So I jumped from ashram to ashram to ashram, guru to guru to guru, book to book to book. Finally, I decided North America doesn't have it. It doesn't cut it for my quest. So I wanted to move to India only. So in 2017, I made the shift to India, and only two places too in India, because I was heavily influenced by Vivekananda, Swami Vivekananda, and Sadhguru. Sadhguru also I did not know much. I just watched his content. I don't know what he's really doing per se, right? So, and then again, I went to Ramakrishna Mutt here. I was not satisfied with, say, live guru is
Yeah.
live guru. It's different, right? And not to say that the practices could be there, but the live guru's presence is completely different. And when I went to Isha, that's how it all began. I did not even know about the ashram. I called them and I did my inner engineering. Uh, yeah, they were laughing at me when I said I want to meet Sadhguru, you know.
What's your first request? Like, I have
My
to meet
first
them.
request, yeah, I came here and I called them and said, I did not, yeah, so the Namaskaram and stuff, really, see, I thought it was really cool because Namaskaram is a, generally, I know you can say it's a South Indian, but it's actually a very Telugu thing. Nowhere in India you hear Namaskaram, except for in Andhra and Telangana. So I was like, why are they speaking this way? That was my first question. And then the Anna, I'm sure he must have laughed. I mean, he must be getting these requests a lot. So I called him and said, I want an appointment with Sadhguru. And so I was like, and then he was like, Anna, who are you? You know, what are you really looking for and everything? And then he said, I should do inner engineering. That's the first program. I said, okay. Fortunately, within 1 week's time, it was being offered in Hyderabad, where I was staying at that time. So I enrolled in the program. I got in the program. Those days, I think it was quite easy to get into the programs. Now it's like everything is just crowded. So I got into the program, finished the program. Next day, I took the train to Coimbatore. Went. I was thinking ashram will be like a small kutir, you know, small place, like two huts, people living
Like
in
how they show
rows.
it in
Exactly how
the
they
movies.
show it in the movies. I was even more. I was imagining the East Asian type of, you know, Buddhist monks type of lifestyle. Because I went to Thailand, Cambodia, China, and I saw those monks' life. So I thought it will be similar, you know. Uh, I went there. I saw the first thing I saw was this enormous Adiyogi and this enormous Sarpa vessel, the snake gate. And then I was thinking everything to be small. The
Mhm.
first two encounters were like so massive. Like, so what is this
Yeah.
place? You know, it's like I thought ashram was like something small. So I entered, and then that's when it all, like, my real journey to Pranava Kshetra began then, right? So when I went to the ashram, I gave Sadhguru sometimes. I warned, I gave him a challenge. So Sadhguru, do something in a week, or else I'm going to Himalayas.
Oh, you are
So
challenging.
I challenged Sadhguru. My ego was as such at that time. So see, because I was guru shopping, so I am the customer. You have to understand that.
Yes.
So gurus have to prove
Like you
themselves that they're worthy. Yeah.
and then you ended up in Isha and then you're
Yes.
giving him a challenge right now.
I'm giving him opportunity to present himself, to showcase his talents. So, and again, this was me, right? You know, it's like with all the intellectual ego of, having read so much, because you feel like you know when you read so much, and you take in that much knowledge from all this Vedanta, especially Vedanta. You know, I recommend everybody, you have to read Vedanta, but please don't stick to it. Go for the experiential aspect. So yeah, within 1 week, he gave me so many shocks, so many shocks, till today, they're still vibrating with me, those shocks, especially with Devi Temple and the Linga. So that's it. I decided to stay. Um, so the moment I went to the ashram, the first thing was I connected right away with the Rally for Rivers. So maybe just 3 4 months prior, or 3 months prior to that, prior to my visit to the ashram, Sadhguru has done the rally across India. He was speaking about the importance of rivers and importance of taking care of them, how it is the binding thread of our civilization, right? Rivers were the civilization of India, right? Not just India, anywhere across the world. If you ever talk about any big civilization, it's always about the river and then the people.
It's a
Because
wherever there is a civilization.
that's it, exactly. It's because of the river people there. It's not the opposite, right? So river is the source of civilization, and I got deeply connected with that. And for all my life, I wanted to do something for India, and I thought this is perfect match. Now I can offer myself for India, and I can continue my spiritual journey. So perfect marriage. And then Sadhguru talks about the marriage of economy and ecology with the Rally for River. So there's so many marriages happening here at this time. So I joined the team, and then I went through the full-time orientation. That was something. For 21 days you're in isolation. For the first time you don't have your cell phone, nothing, and everything is like that. Like you cannot, yeah, you're cut off from everything, and you're not like you won't have time or opportunity to think for yourself. It's just happening so fast, you know.
Don't
So the
have to
activities are like that too,
overthink the day or how to plan this. Everything is kind of
like that.
structured.
Nothing
planned.
like that.
You just
Yeah.
go along with the
Correct.
plan and give your best.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's very simple. Are you in or are you out? Simple. If you're in, you won't have the opportunity to think. If you're out anyway, you won't stay.
Yeah.
It's very simple. That's how the program is designed. It's designed that way on purpose, right? Because at the end of the day, it's not just about you offering yourself as a volunteer and want to stay on the path. You're also representing the foundation also, right? So certain level of sanctity and certain level of I don't know how to put it, but mm, that 21-day orientation will change. And I think people may say that they could have lived in the ashram for so many years, but that orientation is the change. You'll see people will flip.
You're talking about the Rally for Rivers orientation.
No, it's a full-time volunteer orientation.
Oh, full-time volunteer orientation.
Yes.
Okay.
See, Rally for River orientation is just again knowledge, correct? Just getting to know about the rivers, all the outside things. But now you're talking about the full-time volunteer orientation in the ashram, and that was the biggest shift for me. Now I'm going more and more into experiential aspects of life, away from intellectual. So that is the first year of journey for me in the ashram, was to switch myself from, okay, I read so much, I know so much, to, okay, I really don't know anything. So that's how. So by the end of the first year, I felt this is it. I really don't know anything. So now is the time for me to open up fully. So within that 1 year time, everything opened up. And then I stayed for another year and a half to 2 years in the ashram. So while I was in Rally for Rivers, I was in a specific team called Model Village Team, which was in a way, at one point, it was a dream project for Sadhguru, which got passed down, basically. This was like 25 years ago. They were meant to do this. Somehow it got dropped because of some other priority. And then again, they take it up after 3 years. New priority comes, gets dropped. Like that, by the time it came to us, it was dropped 4 or 5 times. And at this time, my mentor in the ashram, he wanted to take this up. And
Okay.
fortunately, he is one of the best mentors you can ever have in the ashram. We were very lucky. Our team was blessed with so much beautiful training within the ashram. At the same time, we had the best mentor to offer us these tools, because he's been in the ashram for so many years. All that wisdom he's been transferring to us, which was absolutely essential. And I don't think most people are blessed that way in the ashram today. So again, we were the lucky group. His name is Etirajulu. He is okay. He has a very beautiful journey of his own. But essentially, he's the one who started Project Green Hands. He's the one who started Rally for Rivers. He's the one who started Save Soil. He's the one who's going to be part of the Conscious Planet also. He's like really the core. He's, I guess, all these projects are reflecting his work, let's say.
So you were under this.
Yeah. And
As
we
part
were,
of the
yes, yes. And we were even lucky because he's actually pretty old by the time we went to the ashram, and he was in his 80s again, 70, late 70s, 80s. So he stayed with us for exactly 1 year. So that we were already lucky. And then the village project was his own project. He acquired from Sadhguru because so Sadhguru wanted him to retire because he's getting pretty old and stuff. And Sadhguru told him when he started Rally for Rivers, Impa, if you know, will you be happy to retire with this model village project? And he was like, yeah, okay, Sadhguru. So I was in that team. So I became even more closer to him. Right. So I owe a lot of or my growth to him. It's Sadhguru is always there. You will anyway grow. But having somebody who can understand the pain you're also going through, who's been through that, it will help a lot more. No. So the pain to know, the pain to evolve, all that stuff, he was helpful. And after that 1 year, he got paralyzed again. So paralyzed for the first time, and that's it. We haven't seen him since. He's been taking rest, but he's still guiding from his residence. He's still in the wheelchair. He's still working. He's like a man with grit. I haven't seen many people like that in my life. Somebody,
real inspiration at that age to be taking on big projects like these.
Yeah, it is amazing. I mean, it's yeah, he is. So
Many times when it comes to volunteering, we sometimes hesitate even to take up the little of the smaller activities and we wonder what is it. But looking at him at that age, taking on big projects and being.
Yes, Saka, it's a completely different ball game. To be a full timer itself is a completely different ball game because this is one thing I tell people in the ashram also generally who come for a short term volunteering or long term volunteering. There are people or volunteers in the ashram. You'll never meet them. You'll never see them. You would have never heard of them. But they are the ones actually making the ashram run. It's not us. You could have 1,000 volunteers in the ashram. We could be doing 1,000 different activities, but that is not making the ashram run. There's something beyond that. So I'm not talking about Sadhguru. I'm not talking about at that level. Right? So many things happening in the background you're completely unconscious about. You won't even notice something.
Individuals who are completely to the process.
Who are completely committed and devoted to the ashram in such a way that you will never hear about them. I'm saying they live such a life where nobody, even person next to him, will not feel that person. They live so grounded. You know what I'm saying? Completely devoted. Completely devoted and grounded that yeah, you just don't know them, and they are the ones making things happen. You will not know them, right? Um, how is food happening on time in the ashram? How is everything happening on time on the ashram? Somebody is waking you up in the ashram. How is that happening? Like I'm saying, you won't notice these things. Like from the point you wake up till the point you sleep, and after you sleep, how are all of these things maintained? Your seva could be a small activity. Whether we do it or not, it really doesn't matter, to be honest. Ashram will still run. So how is that part running? It's these people like this. And there are very few individuals like that. And thanks to them, absolutely. I mean, there's nothing we can do. We can only bow down to them for their commitment and devotion. So, fortunately,
Yeah, I was just saying you're really lucky to be a part of that and get to
yes.
the ashram.
Yeah, absolutely lucky, Akka. Lucky is a very understatement, to be honest. It's a blessing and a privilege. So I think at this point in the model village, that's when this whole thing started. Because right now what we're doing is actually that only continuation of that. So unfortunately, again, when we were about to take this up near the ashram, the same very project, and I'll tell you about what the project is in a bit. Kaveri calling happened. Boom, boom, Sadhguru, another rally. And then COVID happened. The project got dropped. So that's how it happened. And at which point I was still thinking, by that point, I got to a point where the reason I was so excited about this project is for all my time in the ashram, all the evolution and growth I went through in the ashram, I felt everybody outside deserves this wisdom or this experience.
Yeah.
So I thought it should reach everybody. And that's what Sadhguru's, if you really think about it, Sadhguru also talks about it. He wants everybody to experience a drop of spirituality. So it's the same thing that's been flowing within me continuously. It has to reach everybody. It has to reach everybody. It has to reach every commoner around the world, because it's not pertain to some religion, some faith, nothing. It's really how life is happening, right? So everybody deserves this much in life. Deserves to know what they are, at least. What's happening at a very basic level, right? At least they should know how, breathing is happening, right? That much they should know. So when the project got cancelled, the fire was so much within me that, okay, this has to happen. So that's when I had to leave the ashram around that time. And we were going to start something like this. And anyway, we were looking for places. And again, when you become choiceless, and if you keep the purpose true, and you have to become choiceless, that means you don't choose. It's because when you choose, it's your likes and dislikes again. The purpose is true. If you become choiceless, Sadhguru will push you. And when he pushes you in the most cruel path, because he wants you to grow very fast. So he chose this part of see maybe one thing he gave me is he chose a place for me within southern part of India, which is somewhat familiar terrain for me. So that's a blessing. But he gave me the desert part of southern India. Okay, where we are living is a very drought-prone region. Okay, no water, no hope, no culture. Everything is. When I say desert, I'm not talking only about natural vegetation. Within the humanity is also mostly gone here. Right, so he gave me that to work with, and that's how Pranava Kshetra happened. So Pranava means Aum. So Aum, the Aum chant, Aumkar. So Pranav, it's actually called Pranava Nada. So Aumkar is a very new thing we started to call, but it used to be called Pranava Nada. And Kshetra, what Kshetra is? Space, right? So space can be it's a perception, right? There's a space within you also, and there's space outside of you. There's space surrounding you also. So when you're surrounded by this Omkar space, how beautiful could it be within and without? So that's how it came. And it's not, again, it's not my invention. I just, when you're going through sadhana, all these things will just come to you. Again, that's the choicelessness I'm talking about. Like none of the decisions I'm making, simple decisions we are making. For example, Maestri is coming, whatever simple day-to-day activities, we are making those decisions. The bigger ones, we are not making the direction-wise decisions. It's just coming through sadhana only, basically. So we came to Pranava Kshetra, we came to this place called Mangalgi village in Bidar district of Karnataka. Again, language, culture, everything is new for me. So unfortunately or fortunately, after coming here, I learned Hindi, not Kannada. So, so this is a tri-state junction. So Hindi is the most popular language.
How far is it, Anna, from Kshetra? How far is it from Bangalore? How far is it from Hyderabad? Which is nearest to be?
Closest big city would be Hyderabad. It's 150 kilometers. We're even north of Hyderabad. So we're actually further away from Bangalore. If Bangalore is the southern part of Karnataka, we're the northmost tip of Karnataka. There's nothing beyond here in Karnataka. We are the last district. So we are like halfway through Maharashtra. We're like north of, many parts of Maharashtra, even south of us. We're like that north.
Oh.
Yeah. It's, I don't know if you know Karnataka map, it goes like that into one corner. That's where we are. So, yeah.
So, what are you trying to build in Pranava Kshetra? So, what is the vision for it?
So, essentially, the vision of Pranava Kshetra is to create conscious individuals. So, again, where we are in the village, where we say we are trying to create a sustainable village here, that is a project within the bigger vision, right? Because at the end of the day, we want to create conscious individuals in every way possible for the ultimate well-being. And when I say well-being, it's always relative, right? Relative to whatever you are at the moment. So when I say ultimate well-being, that means it's just a gateway. So we're only going to provide the path, right? Opportunities and tools are all, his tools only, like he's offering us. We are only becoming the medium for that. That's all it is. right? So in that is the vision of Pranava Kshetra. So as part of that, we have the model village project going, or the sustainable model village project going on. So the with the model village project, the idea is that we want to create an entire village full of individuals who are conscious and they're enjoy basically, right? And then so for that, basically, we realized that the foundation part of that will be you need spaces, right spaces to create the transformation. So when we first moved here, we realized the need for spaces because of the environment and the lifestyle and people and everything. And literally, even if you want to conduct something, there's no space here. Everything is so occupied here. So that's what drove us to Devi temples. So it's a beautiful story. I'll explain sometime in the podcast. But yes, so the ultimate, ultimately, these are the activities we are involved in at the moment. So there are foundation level activities which are basically creating spaces, energetic spaces, and consecrated spaces. And there are day-to-day activities which involves going to the local government schools and teaching English or teaching about science in terms of life. Like for example, introducing them to environment and ecology and how to conduct their life. Simple, about lifestyle and everything. And also, parallelly, we are also teaching yoga to children, yoga to adults, and we are also taking up Bhairavi Divya Puja, which is a offering, which is something Sadhguru has offered to connect with Devi. Again, this is like slowly moving people towards inner journey and inner transformation. Okay, likewise, we are also involved heavily on the natural farming because when we first came here, we wanted to dedicate a sizable piece of land only for environment, right? So who will benefit from it? We are not thinking about it. I'm sure sometime in future generation, maybe 2 3 generations down the road, somebody will benefit from it. The nature will benefit from it. The space, this village can benefit from it. So we're not thinking about it. So at the moment, we dedicated 5 acres of land only for forestation. Because this is a drought region, that's going to take a little bit of time for us to create. So in parallel to that, we also started natural farming. So natural farming because we wanted to offer good energetic food to ourselves and to people around us. So we've taken up the challenge last year with very little experience, and it has been amazingly successful. We grew our own pigeon pea, which is tuar, moong, which is green gram, and black gram, some peanuts. So quite a few things happened very successfully. So pretty much there's not a break. And recently, this year, actually 2024, opened the 2024 opened the doors for my vision for a very long time to offer all the learnings in the past so many years to everybody in the form of pranic lifestyle classes. So that started, 3 sessions have finished till now. One advanced batch is halfway through. So it's been happening very successfully. And yeah, so it's keeping us busy all the time. And it's also keeping us on the toes because now we have more and more people wanting to take it. It's not like we can take break from the classes anymore. It's going to be a continuous thing for the rest of the year. Every month there will be one introductory batch for sure. So yeah, lots are happening, and
So there is
we have
introductory batch as well as advanced batch.
yes, Saka. One introductory and one advanced. And the focus of this lifestyle uh, sessions is when I was in the ashram, a lot of things are taken care of. You don't think about energy, you don't think about space and all of that. But now, for people living outside the ashram, how can they maintain their space so that they don't have to worry, so that they can also lead a very energetic lifestyle, right? It starts with everything. It starts with the surrounding external, and it's also your internal environment. Both have to be taken care of. In which way you can take care of it the best. So that's what these classes are about. So many gurus have offered themselves to help me grow. So I'm just transferring that knowledge. That's all. And it's the same we are practicing at Pranava Kshetra. So that is all we are doing basically.
You mentioned about positive pranic lifestyle. So can you elaborate on what is positive pranic lifestyle and why is it needed in the current times?
For the purpose of the general audience, prana is just energy, right? Or you can say life force, like the energy that is running this entire planet's life. So And prana can operate in many different ways, right? So the prana that's on this laptop is different from the prana that's operating us as human beings. And within the human beings also, we have multiple pranas. For example, a construction worker will have a different level of prana compared to a guy like me. Right now, I'm sitting in front of the laptop. I will need a different prana. That means different energies and different life experience or life energies that's needed. So, because of our lifestyle today, there's not a lot of physical activity. So, how do we take care of what kind of prana is needed for this lifestyle and for this and circumstances of the planet? So that's what's covered in these classes, number one. So that's what we are referring to as positive prana. It doesn't mean negative prana is bad. It's just not relevant today in today's context. That's all we're trying to say. So what is relevant to today's context? Maybe your grandfather would have said that I did so much and I used to do so many things, but today it's not relevant anymore. Even if it's the genetic information is there within you, circumstantial context outside of you, it's not there. So that's one thing. And the second thing is no, we want to we want individuals to grow beyond normal to health. So in today's world, we've reduced the definition of health to mediocrity. That means you don't have diseases, you're healthy. And that is not correct. That's not the right way of living. I'm saying that is not the best way to live because there are options. If there are no options, you can say, yeah, you can say, okay, this is the way we want to live. But because we have so many options out there to live beyond normal, which is a healthy way of living. So now we are trying to bring all the ways of inculcating these healthy practices so you can achieve the health that a human being deserves to achieve. No, at least that much should happen. You don't have to do yoga, meditation, all of that. At least basic health, that much should happen to everybody. So these classes are provided for just for that.
So could you tell us a bit more about what is covered in these pranic lifestyle sessions, Anna?
Yeah. So mm, at a very basic level, we're trying to cover how to wake up, how to sleep, how to eat, how to cook, how to drink, literally whatever you do on day-to-day basis, all the actions you think you are planning to do or you do as a human being, we're just covering how to do it, why you're doing, when to do, what to do, basically. That's the essence of all these classes because there's a way to be, right? We're trying to cover that.
Yes.
Right. So essentially, unfortunately, because a question within me was burning, right? All these, like, whatever I just shared, why to eat, when to eat, what to eat, how to eat. These questions were always burning within me. I learned quite a bit from the ashram. Again, my mentor was a role model. Like, he shared the best practices and everything. We actually implemented all of that in the ashram and we grew, everything changed for us when we've implemented all of this in the ashram. And a few of the aspects were still not covered, and other gurus from outside we encountered, they filled in those gaps, and that's when it became complete. So now, yeah. So as far as cooking is concerned, you don't have to compromise on what let's say, for example, you're eating rice. The point is not about you should not eat rice or you should eat rice. You can make a choice yourself, but how you can cook the rice so that the prana is retained in the rice, right? At the end of the day, that's what it is, right? When you're eating something within that, we're calling it energy, right? Something within that, the energy should get transferred to you, or else there's no point in eating, right? So at least it can be useful to us if the energy is transferred.
Yeah.
Or else we can eat plastic also. If you want to just fill your stomach, there's multiple ways to live. And actually, we are actually eating plastic also without unconsciously.
I know now. One thing is, like, when I
So,
joined your sessions, I'm really lucky to be a part of your pranic lifestyle sessions. Before joining your course, I was under the impression that wow, I have done from past 6-7 years. We've been eating twice a day since we started doing Shambhavi Mahamudra. That's when the shift happened from eating thrice to twice a day, and it was like a gradual
oh wow.
shift that happened. Uh, However, I was thinking, okay, I'm not eating onion, garlic, and some of the negative pranic substances, so I'm eating healthy. But when I attend your class, I was like, oh my God, there is so much more. The pranic aspects, how to,
Yeah.
yeah, how to retain
So there's one thing
prana was something
yeah.
which I had no clue about, and
Yes.
it definitely opened my mind to it. Yeah.
Likewise, Akka, it's the same thing for me also because initially I thought, okay, if we don't eat certain things, that is good enough. But the things we are eating, how are we making it? Right? How are we making it happen within ourselves? Just give you a simple example. Recently, I mean, not recently, like Sadhguru spoke recently in some video. He was saying, if you want to eat almonds, you have to take the peels off and consume almonds, right? So, technically speaking, almonds are positive pranic. But if you want the energy to transfer to you fully in an efficient and effective way, take the peels off and have it. Right? These are the simpler things, the finer details. That's all we are covering here.
I mean, for you, it definitely feels simple, Anna, but everything, every little aspect that you covered, starting from preparing rice, stove making of kali, making of biosalt, which is used to retain the prana in the system, in the food that we cook. And there are very, even coming to millets also, just I was like, okay, I have to soak millets, I have to like these day to day things which we normally do as part of our cooking, whether to soak certain grains, whether to not to soak certain grains. I think all of this information was really useful, and I'm glad to be a part of the advanced classes as well. So you mentioned that you are conducting the classes every weekend, right? Is it and it is offered online?
Yes, Akka.
Anyone can join those classes.
Yes, Akka.
So when
Yes.
is the next batch, Anna, if someone is interested to join the Pranic Lifestyle sessions?
Yeah, we've decided to conduct the classes on Saturdays and Sundays. So Saturdays will be the advanced batches and Sundays will be the introductory batches. So the next batch is the introductory batch will start on May 12th. And yeah, so if anybody is interested to enroll, you can go straight to the website, pranavakshetra.org. And in that, there's a big button on the top called Pranic Lifestyle. You can just click on that. You can go through that page and you can register yourself. That's the best way to enroll in the next class. So one aspect I want to say is because you brought up food, so Pranic Lifestyle covers everything, including food, right? So if you want to think of everything as food, yeah, something that goes into your mouth can be food, something that goes into your skin, brain, everything, that is also food only, in, like different ways of consuming food. So when it comes to the food we consume through mouth, oral, uh, we always think of it in terms of nutrition, correct? So in the pranic lifestyle, we look at it in terms of prana, because we know when the right prana goes into your system, automatically whatever nutrition your system needs, it will create by itself. It will get created. So the premise and the understanding of how health is, now there's a big shift all of a sudden. So that is what we're trying to cover in these classes.
So if anyone is interested to join the classes, Anna shared the details. So I'll also leave a link in the video description. You can check it out. As Anna beautifully said, it's just not about food. It covers various aspects of life and how to go about your day-to-day life and make the most out of our beautiful journeys.
Yes, Akka.
You spoke about creating energetic spaces or consecrated spaces in Pranava Kshetra. What are the energetic spaces that you want to create in Pranava Kshetra?
For a very long time, uh, I think what made human beings different from rest of the life on the planet is human beings are very good at creating spaces for different purposes. It's very innate within us, right? So from the beginning of civilization, prior to civilization also, that much consciousness is there within the human beings. But for some reason today, that connect with the nature is lost, and we lost the connect with spaces in general. If you look at the Indian civilization of the past, they have created so many spaces everywhere, within the house, outside the house, everywhere. Every street will have like multiple spaces for multiple purposes, because they understood that for a human being to grow in a certain direction, certain space is required. So likewise, within Mangalgi's context, we realize that we need certain spaces to make the transformation happen. So the few spaces that are coming up right now would be, we are trying to bring Devi Temple, Linga Bhairavi, Sadhana Sthala. So that is one thing. Especially we need it for the women in the village. They're already connecting with it. And we're also, so this is the big one. It's actually coming up soon. We're also having Hanuman Temple coming up, and Yogashala is coming up, and Sadhaka stay area and Sadhana Hall for sadhakas. So these are the spaces that are going to come up right. We're trying to bring up right away as part of the foundational activities. So if you talk about the Devi temple, uh, so Devi's space is feminine in nature. So for somebody to experience feminine is basically coming closer to nature. That's all it is, right? Because generally masculine is all about, yes, true. To when I'm creating space, that's a very masculine activity. But at some point, I have to say the space is done. Now I want to get closer to nature. That's a feminine side, getting closer to Prakriti. So Devi's space is such that she's always enveloping you. No, she gives you that protection. She gives you that security. She gives you that uh, the necessary strength and courage to lead your life in this. So that's why Devi space is here necessary here, because she is going to bring hope to the people. This region has lost hope in general. That means even if you provide a perfect opportunity right in front of them in a platter, they're not ready to receive it. Like as a generation or as a because of oppression and so many other factors, they lost hope in general. So Devi will provide them that hope that they can grow again after so many years, so many hundreds of years, right? So, likewise for Yogashala, we want it to be a place for somebody to grow to their highest uh, capabilities. That's what Sadhguru talks about yoga, right? Yoga is a tool which allows somebody to grow to their highest capacity. So the Yogashala space is meant for everybody, where opportunities are provided in every way possible. For example, yeah, their yoga is anyway offered, but say traditional martial arts like Kalari Payattu or say Hanuman Gada, all these things also will be offered to human beings because these are all increasing the capacity of human beings. All those things will be offered in the Yogashala. And Hanuman Temple will be supporting the Yogashala. Actually, there will be Hanuman energies supporting because Hanuman is the uh, living yogi, like biggest yogi that is still alive. So his energies will be supporting Yogashala. Right? Same with Sadhana Hall. Sadhana Hall is a little bit more private space for sadhakas. So they can do their sadhana. If somebody is coming as a volunteer and they want to focus on their own sadhana, that sadhana hall space will be helpful for them, conducive for them. So that's how the spaces are being designed for now.
When somebody hears that, oh, you are creating a temple, so the first argument that they come up with is, so why a temple? Why not a hospital or a school or something like that?
We have been very successful as a civilization to understand that we need different spaces for different purposes. But our village already has a hospital, we already have schools, we have multiple schools. All these spaces are already being taken care of government infrastructure. But what is not being taken care of is about human capacities, right? Human being as a life or inner growth or inner transformation, we don't have separate spaces for that. That's what all these temples are meant for. And some temples are there, but they're actually in ruins because they're not in the hands of people who are actually let's say, they may not have the best intentions to take care of these spaces. So in that context, they're probably ruined in some way. So now we are trying to bring up those spaces. These are universal spaces, right? You don't have to believe in anything. It's just to connect yourself with your humanity. That's all. So these spaces are not being created. And where they are, if, for example, if those spaces are existing here, I'll be very happy. Now I don't have to think of raising funds to create spaces like that. I'll just be focusing on, okay, there's a space here already, I'll just make use of it. So schools are already here. We're actually making use of the schools. I'm not creating a new school here because that's my vision was to create a beautiful school here to have all the children. I came here, school is already here. I'll make use of it. Why not? So that's the purpose of the temple. So yeah, you can think of 1,000 different things. Why just hospitals and schools? I can build multiple houses for people who are living in huts. Why not? But that is not the complaint, uh, at least contextually speaking. So if that was the complaint, we will think about survival first. But survival is not the problem yet, right now.
Definitely, there is a certain difference one can experience just being in a consecrated space. Let's say, I think one experiences it when you visit a temple. You feel definitely there is something different, whether you are sensitive or depending on, how even if you have not done any yoga, even if you have not understood the energy aspects, one certainly experiences a difference when one visits consecrated spaces. So I think someone who has been to ashram can also speak to that. And personally for us, creating a space, like from childhood, we have understood, yes, temple means we bow down, we do it. But one aspect that really opened us up, we found something new, was creating a space within the house, creating a consecrated space, creating a separate space for sadhana. Once we had a separate space for it, and just lighting a little lamp, and nothing much, not much prayers or anything, just keeping the doing little things and doing the yogic practices there. We definitely can say it's been a game changer,
Beautiful.
And there are different.
Beautiful, Akka. Yes, that's it.
Yeah, there are different ways to create the energy inside the house or inside the room. So, for example, the shift that we experience, we usually every year we do Varma Lakshmi Abba, which is the Varma Lakshmi festival. So the previous night we sit, we arrange everything for the deity and everything. But the moment we create, we keep her as
we set the deity up,
up, and we light a lamp, so we can distinctly experience the difference how it is. So it is like people without the knowing of the energy aspects, they will say, okay, there is a different vibe. But if you actually sit in that space and experience that space, it will like explode you.
Yeah.
Yes, Anna. You guys put it very beautifully, actually. Creating spaces within the house, creating a temple within the house. That's I think everybody deserves, and you can give a lot of. I really hope you can share some of your how you're creating such spaces at home. It will be very useful for everybody.
One small thing which I would like to mention is, I hear people saying, even we've lived in shared accommodations, sharing the house with others, and even in those situations, there definitely is a possibility to, whether you have your own house, whether you have a
separate
room for the sadhana and creating a space, or even if you have a little space, a small table somewhere where you can have a little lamp going up. I think that's like the very basic of how you can create an ambience for yourself, and an ambience where you can feel that positive vibes and be benefited from the space.
Absolutely, Akka. I completely agree with that. I'll just share a little example. So you're talking about sharing spaces with people. So when I first came to Mangalgi, I told you this village has no extra space for a human being to come and stay. I'm saying they build the house just enough so that the people within the house will adjust. It's like that. If somebody from outside comes, there's no space for people to stay or live here. It's like that. So I lived in a cow shed when I first came here. And that cow shed is about 6 by 10 space, like 10 feet by 6 feet. Within that, I had to set up a little kitchen and everything. So, who am I sharing that space with? Anyway, one cow will be there in one corner. That is not the problem. But at nights, I'm sharing the space with 7 rats. So the moment you lie down, the moment you lie down, that's it. They are crawling all over you. The first day you get scared. Second day you get scared. Third day you're just pushing them away. Like it's become second nature. So just that I'm telling you, just having Devi next to me and just that lamp next to me. I just did not even realize I was living with rats that whole 8 months until we built this space. So it was definitely a tough time for survival. But she is there. I think that's what the spaces is all about, is when you have a consecrated space or energized space, it will give you a strength beyond the physicality and mentality, beyond the mental body also, right?
When you mentioned Devi, I can definitely relate with Devi. The first time I didn't even know what Devi, like who Devi is and everything. And then when I think Bhairavi sadhana was something that I started with Devi, with just a printout of the photo, and just, with a printout of Devi's photo and the lamp itself, there was so much difference. And then Devi Gudi came, Dhanalinga Yantra came to the house. So it's like building up the energy forms. But irrespective of anything, I think if devotion is there inside, it'll lead us the way.
It all starts with the intention and devotion, Akka. I think everything will just fall in place. So, yeah.
You mentioned about Hanuman Temple is coming up. So when is the Hanuman Temple coming up, and why Hanuman in the first place?
Hanuman happened to me as a child, right? When I was 3, 4 years old. He is one cool guy I looked up to. I think every child would have been mesmerized about his ability and what he was capable of doing and what feats he has done, right? Just jumping from one island to another island is not a small thing. He's done so many more than that. And there's a one part where he jumped so high to capture the sun, thinking it was an apple. So I'm just saying, these are all stories. Maybe they could be real. It doesn't matter. For me, it was so cool at the time. So he was so cool to me. Like I said, I grew up an atheist from a very young age. I did not trust or believe in any of this. I questioned everything. But Hanuman attracted me so much that I created a Hanuman temple within the house when I was 4 years old only. So that's how it started. And then I forgot about him at some point. Uh, I did not lose trust in him per se, but because you're there's a cloud of questions right now because you're lacking clarity, right? So I just forgot about him. So recently, like last year, we wanted to create all these spaces like Devi Temple, Yogashala, Hanuman Temple, not Hanuman Temple, stay area and everything. But things were just not moving, no matter how much I tried. Like for workers will not come, workers will not agree to do anything. They'll say they'll come and then they'll just disappear. So it was happening continuously for 7 to 8 months. And then one day I just sat in sadhana. This was in October last year. And this was like, so after so many years, after 30 years, again, Hanuman appeared again in my meditation. How, why, how, I mean, I could not figure out why. And for 2 days, I was just thinking, why Hanuman? Why is he coming right now? It's not like he left, but why is his energy floating up again within me? Why is his visual floating up? So I just thought about it for a couple of days, and 2 days later, this one Swami called me and he said he's a well-wisher. Uh, he does pratishtas himself, like he does consecrations. So 2 days later, he called me and said, Nishant, you should get Hanuman in Mangalgi. And then I said, Swami, should I get what, like Hanuman photo? No, he said, no, we should bring Hanuman. So he's talking about Pratishta. He's talking about consecrating Hanuman here. And then I was curious. I was like, Swami, did I tell you, did I message you accidentally in the last 2 days? He said, no. So I asked him, why are you telling me all this? Like Hanuman, like all of a sudden. He's like, no, your area needs Hanuman. So this happened. And maybe 4 or 5 days later, there's this another Guru Pashupati. He had darshan of Hanuman himself, like physically I'm talking about. He started his Hanuman podcast, which anyway, I did not know him at all. All of a sudden, and it's not like I was searching on YouTube about Hanuman. I was just going through the internal thing only at this point. He would come up on the news, the YouTube feed, and feeding me information about Hanuman all of a sudden. So I know these days the Google can hear all of it, but I'm sure they cannot hear my mental thoughts. That much I can. So I was assured that yeah, it's not that. It's not like I was typing or speaking about it. I was just thinking about it. That's all. So all these things happened, and then I was like, okay, fine. That 1 week happened. Eighth day, everybody came. When I say everybody, I'm talking everybody. Because for Devi Temple, we want it to be built a very specific way, using only natural material. That happened. The deal got sealed on the 9th day, right? At least for the ritual room, right? Because we only have funds for part of the project. And then Hanuman Temple also started at the same. The foundation has begun. The foundation for the rest of the stay area has begun. The Yogashala foundation will not happen right away. It will take some time because once all the spaces will come, in the remainder space, the Yogashala will come. So all of a sudden, you have workers coming, activity started from that day on, sometime in October till now. it's been so busy. And all of a sudden, you can see the Pranic Lifestyle classes. I've been dreaming of starting this for in the past 4 years. Now they're, all of a sudden it happened in full-fledged. Like 3 batches and advanced batch. It's like I didn't even dream of so many batches. I thought I'll just deliver it once and done. I'll be done. So yeah, it's all. So when Hanuman comes, I think he comes with a force. And I think maybe that's what we need here is maybe we're very low on energies in this area, and his force is what we need. And again, Devi could bring in that force, but Devi will require proper ambience and everything. Sadhguru talks about it. You cannot just say Devi will come. No, you have to create the ambience for her and everything, and that will take us some time. But Hanuman is like, we just thought about him. He's like, okay, I'm ready. You want a challenge? I'll give you a challenge. He'll just he just came like that. So yeah, he's just beyond my imagination how he came, and he's still like living through us since then.
So, which form of Hanuman, and can you share about the type of the form of the Hanuman that you're doing the Pratishta?
So Hanuman has multiple forms, right? So the form of Hanuman we chose is Sankat Mochan Hanuman. That means the Hanuman with the Sanjeevani Parvat. You probably saw it on in photos and stuff. So that is the part of Ramayana where Lakshman is about to die, and the only way he can survive is if he gets Sanjeevani herb, which is a herb that can bring people back to life. So Hanuman had to jump again. All these jumps. He had to jump to Himalayas and take Sanjeevani and come back. But he did not know which. I know he could not. He's not an Ayurveda specialist, so I'm sure he looked at it and said, "Okay, I'll just take the whole mountain. They'll figure it out, right?" So he just, simply just took the mountain and came back, and that mountain is still in Sri Lanka. So that's the one, because the point is, at that point, even Ram could not figure out how to solve the situation. But Hanuman is very good at tackling problems, right? He's the one, he doesn't like ponder over something. He doesn't do that. He's like, you have a problem? I have a solution. Are you ready? That's all. He's like that. Very straightforward, very simple. Like, let's get to it kind of guy. So that is the Hanuman we are planning to bring, especially for these circumstances, because we want to drive faster here. And a lot of how do you say, opposition is there for that. So I think Hanuman will help compensate for that quite a bit.
What do you mean by opposition?
And opposition is more like this, Anna. So because, like I said, the culture here is a result of 400 years of whatever happened in the last 400 years here. Due to oppressive rulers and lack of culture and lot of discrimination within the communities here. It's a combination of all of that. So they've reached at a point where within themselves, there's an opposition to grow. It's not like they don't understand that they need to grow. They know. They just don't feel like growing. They don't see a need to grow. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. But they want results. But without growth, results cannot happen. So that is what is lacking in this region. So Hanuman will compensate for that. Like, he'll give the needed push so they can achieve the results. That's all it is. When I say needed push, yeah, maybe the needed energies or needed opportunities, needed strength to overcome that limitation within themselves, right? Because even Hanuman had to be reminded that he has the capacity to take those long jumps, because he had forgot. As a child, he was able to jump to reach the sun. He forgot that. So he had to be reminded. So I think his energy at this point will help people remind that, yeah, you are capable. You're just not using it. You're capable. Every human being is capable to achieve the highest.
Definitely, Hanuman will help.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bring that positive energy, bring up life to the place.
And precisely that reason, that's when I decided that spaces are the foundation, because only way you can impact or change that energy is when you create enough positive spaces, right? At least we need to nullify them. We may not completely eliminate a karma, so at least we can nullify that effect.
So what is the type of consecration, Anna, for Hanuman? If you could share a bit more about it.
So I'm very excited about Hanuman. Actually, I don't know why, but maybe he's like that. He makes everybody excited about life. So, so Hanuman consecration is done by Swami. His name is Sairam Swami. His guru is a Himalayan yogi, and his guru is still alive. He's 500 years old, yogi, and uh, and this Swami is also very immense in his sadhana and everything. But when you look at him, he looks like a very normal human being, like person next door. But what he's capable of is something else. So he's a specialist in Hanuman consecration. He's already done 20 consecrations near his kshetra. So his kshetra is in the Orissa Andhra border in a forest. So near his kshetra itself, he consecrated about 20 Hanumans already. Who is very good with Hanuman consecrations, and he was a Hanuman Upasaka also. Upasaka means they spend all their sadhana with one deity. That's when you call it Upasaka. So during a part of his life, he was Hanuman Upasaka also. So he'll carry that energy with him. So the kind of Pratishta or consecration we are doing, he calls it as Vayu Pratishta, which is favorable to sadhakas. Right? Now we are not talking about temples. Temples are Mantra Pratishta generally, what we know in India. With Mantra Pratishta, you need to have a dedicated priest who carries out the mantras, and the typical Anushtana involves like, Deepam, Dhupam, Naivedyam, twice a day you have to do Aarti, all that stuff. Now for sadhakas, it's not about external rituals, a lot of internal rituals have to happen, right? That's when you become a sadhaka, right? So his pratishtha is more to do with that. Now all you have to do is light a diya, and that's it. So it is that kind of pratishtha. And secondly, the specialty about Vayu Pratishtha, he says, is the Murti will carry the energy. So generally with Mantra Pratishtha, there will be a yantra in below the Murti. Even here, there will be yantra. So the yantra is the one that carries the energy. But in Vayu Pratishtha, Murti also carries the energy. So maybe 2 years later, if a sadhaka feels he wants to take the Murti with him, he can take the Murti with him. So that's why it's very sadhaka geared, more than for the region having a certain priest to take care of it. The priest may or may not be connected as a sadhaka does. Right? That's why
Because I think sadhaka takes, and it is more beneficial to someone who's being in the presence of the temple and the premises.
Correct. Completely agree. And for a sadhaka, you don't need to tell him to take care of the temple. He or she will automatically do it. It's very intrinsic.
And is there a particular way you're constructing the temple?
We had to make room for Hanuman because he was not there in the original plan. So it has come out very small. The Garbhagriha, or the inner sanctorium, it's like 9 by 9, 9 feet by 9 feet. And the Murti is about 3.5 foot tall, basically. So his presence will be big within the 9 by 9 frame, let's say, right? So that's one thing. And the height of the temple, we want to bring Devi in, so we put 11 feet. So I was very excited when we put the 11 feet, because I want to bring Devi in here as much as possible. And anyway,
number of 11.
Devi's never, yes. We cannot take Devi away, even for Hanuman, right? For Hanuman, Sita Devi is like, Sita was more than Rama for him in many ways. It was depicted all through Ramayana. So yeah, he'll absolutely enjoy Devi's presence. So, and this temple, again, this is a part of it is my own design. Part of it is coming from the Swami who's going to consecrate. He said you should have a pyramidal structure on top to carry out certain energies of Hanuman. So we brought in a pyramid. Right now, maybe because it's not finished fully, it looks like there's a space and there's a hat, pyramid hat on top. That's what it's looking like. But yeah, so that's what it is. That's how it is going to come out. And it's very conducive for sadhakas. On top of that, he said the structure itself, because of the dimensions and the shape, he said that will bring about a change within 1 kilometer radius, which is what we are looking for. That is the important aspect. Yeah, people may or may not come here, but if it can affect 1 kilometer radius, that is very beneficial. So that's how it is, and there will be a small space for parikrama. If you can just I forgot the English word, but yeah, you can just go around the temple outside. What do you call that, Akka?
Circumambulate.
Circumambulate. Yeah, that's it.
Yes. So what part of the consecration as well, Anna?
So I think this is one major aspect. This time around, I will also be part of the consecration. And I spoke with Swami and I requested him that the opportunity be present for any sadhaka who can do a certain amount of sadhana for one mandala, which is 40 days, who can be part of the Pratishta. And the culmination will happen on the Pratishta day itself. So yes, I'm also going to be part of the Pratishta, and it's an opportunity for everybody else also.
So can you share like who can do the sadhana? You mentioned it is a 40-day Hanuman sadhana. So who can do the Hanuman sadhana, and are there any criteria that they need to follow?
So technically speaking, every life on the planet will respond to him. So everybody is eligible. But because it involves a little Mula Mantra, we are advising that anybody over 15 years of age can take part in this sadhana. And the beauty of this sadhana is it doesn't require initiation from somebody. It's a self-initiation where if you feel you want to connect with Hanuman, you just sit in front of Hanuman and you start yourself. Right? We call it Anushtana. Anushtana means when you take up a certain mandala or diksha, we say you start yourself. So that's how it is going to be. And that is one requirement. Second requirement is obviously you have to wake up early in the morning. There are few yamas and niyamas, like do's and don'ts. One of the biggest yama would be practicing brahmacharya during this time for 40 days. And don't think of brahmacharya as a limiting aspect of just sex. It is more beyond that, right? So there is actually a quick orientation for people who are interested to take part in the sadhana, where we cover all the aspects of what happens during this one mandala or 40 days. So finer details can be captured. But essentially, if you want to connect with Hanuman, if you want to dedicate 40 days of your life towards him, to get closer to him, to take part of this, to take part in the consecration, not as an attendee, but as a participant, and offer your energies for the consecration. Yeah, this is an opportunity for them.
So, Anna, you mentioned there is no initiation needed. So, is it okay for us, like Isha meditators who are part of, who are regularly practicing? So, is it okay to do the
Isha practices and also the Hanuman sadhana?
Hanuman sadhana?
So you may be surprised that Isha practices are the foundation for this to happen. I know we're getting ahead because the orientation actually covers most of these aspects. But generally, yes, you'll notice that 90 to 95% of the sadhana involves our Isha practices only. So it is really geared towards Isha sadhakas. And if you're non-Isha meditator also, they will end up doing Isha practices. So somehow they'll come close to Sadhguru.
So, how can people be part of the mandala or the sadhana?
So Anna, maybe I'll provide the link to the WhatsApp group. So you can just click on the link and join the group. There'll be one orientation on the 20th at 6 p.m. India time, and there'll be another orientation on the 22nd, again 6 p.m. India time, where all the guidelines will be shared. At which point, if you choose to take up the sadhana, there will be separate time allocated to you to go through the mantra. And it's not an initiation again. We'll be sharing the mantra because it has to be done with a certain ambience. That's all it is. So for those interested, a separate time and space will be created to share the mantra.
It's a specific orientation session to guide people.
Yes, Saka. Yes.
To support the sadhana.
To support the sadhakas. Yes. And by the way, there will be a support group also that takes care of, like during the mandala, you may have multiple questions. So there is the WhatsApp group will remain where all the questions will be answered.
So when is the Hanuman Pratishta, Anna, and how can we be a part of it?
Hanuman Pratishta is happening on May 4th, which also happens to be Hanuman Jayanti. Or actually, it's the opposite. Because it is Hanuman Jayanti, his Pratishta is happening on that day. So, and leading up to Hanuman Pratishta, that is actually from the 25th of this month. So, okay, so the dates of the sadhana is from 25th of this month, which is March 25th, and culminating on May 4th. That's actually 40 days period. So I will be going into silence for 1 month from March 25th till April 25th to prepare myself for the consecration, to intensify my own practices. And it's not needed necessary for everybody. And in terms of people who would like to be part of this consecration and wants to go take up this sadhana, there are multiple possibilities. Like one way is you can culminate by coming here to the Pratishta and be part of the Pratishta or consecration. Another opportunity is, say, for example, you're not nearby and you cannot come here physically. You can culminate at your own place, and there's a certain way to culminate. And part of the culmination is we're trying to live stream the event. So maybe if you can sit through the live stream, that will help culminate easily. If you cannot sit through the live stream event, then there will be a backup option on how to culminate. And the third option is for those who want to connect with him, but they know that they cannot dedicate enough time or effort because of life context or life situation to the practices. In that case, they could go through the mantra process, but they don't have to. Again, they will not be able to take part in the pratishtha. They can attend the event. They can still be part of it um, from a distance, I guess, but they will not go through. What is that, Akka?
As an attendee instead of
As an attendee, yes, exactly. As an attendee, instead of a participant, they can be part of the event. Absolutely. And it's the same thing. Even for them, the culmination is they can do remote culmination via the event, or they can come here and do the culmination. And the third backup option is also there for everybody. And you don't have to be a meditator. If you're a meditator, it's easy because you already know how to do sadhana. If you're not a meditator, you can still be part of it because everything can be, there's guidance for everything. So that's not a problem.
It's to be a really big event. So how are you managing, Anna? Do you need support, or how are you managing the entire event?
Yes, Saka, it's actually probably the biggest event that we are going to be part of as Pranava Kshetra. So one thing is we would like to request everybody who would like to come support us as a volunteer. So you can volunteer for the Pratishtha itself, and you can also volunteer for the Annadanam. So on that particular day at 7 o'clock is when the Pratishtha process will begin until 12:30. Following which there will be Mahanadanam for everybody. Villagers will come, people from outside will come. We don't even know who will come. Who will show up to Hanuman? He'll decide anyway. So it's a great opportunity to volunteer and serve for the Annadanam. So if you could come 3 days to 4 days or 1 week prior to the event and support us with the logistics and activity, that will be very helpful. At least for the Pranava Kshetra's capacity is a very big event that we cannot manage with with the support group we have at the moment. So if any of you could come, please do come. We are not very far from Hyderabad. We're only 150 kilometers from Hyderabad. So depending on where you're coming from, we can provide the guidance on how to get here. That is not a problem. But so from May 4th, how much ever early you can come and help support put together the event, that will be very helpful.
So finally, Anna, from your dream of coming up with a model village, a sustainable village to bring about conscious individuals, to turning it into a reality right now and working on it from the past 1 year. Also, what has it been financially for you, and how are you managing it?
When we came here, we did not have a lot of, actually, we did not have much funds. We just had enough funds, thanks to Devi, that we were able to build a space for at least for us to stay and sustain and have a couple of volunteers to, stay and sustain. That much is there. And fortunately, last year, we had a podcast with Vaishakana. And that's the first time we actually actively spoke about this project publicly. Up till then, few of our volunteer friends knew about this, but that's about it. So that's one of the reasons, because we did not even have funds. We did not even know how to manifest it properly in the physical reality. Everything is there, the design and how it's supposed to come, how the energy needs to be built, and everything is there, but for it to become a reality. And whenever you're creating spaces, sustainable spaces, so it's not just like you're building something and because it's energetic space, it's fine. It requires funding from certain sources also. That means the funds have to come from people who actually care about these spaces. Only then it can be sustainable. I'm talking about this karmically speaking, right? I'm not talking like, depending on the cement quality and strength, we can say 100 years. It's not about that. So people who care, even today, you'll notice all the ashrams are being run from the donations of devotees. There's a reason for that. Because these are the funds that are karmically inclined towards that place's sustenance. So likewise, last year we had some donations, really 10% of what our requirement was to build all these spaces. primarily came for Devi Temple. So this year we ran out of funds, and whatever little funds we had to divert them to Hanuman Temple, and now Devi's Temple project will be halted a little. So again, we are back to square one where we don't have donations, we don't have financial support. So yeah, we need as much contribution as possible. For those who, in whichever way or form, you can contribute, please support us. Um, we are not thinking about today, we're sowing the seeds for generations to come. So it is those kind of spaces we are trying to create. So yes, if you have an intention, if you have the intention to help create such spaces, please help with the financial donations. It will help us a lot. It will help humanity go much further. Thank you very much.
How can people donate, Anna?
Yeah, no, we have a website called pranavakshetra.org. I'll share the details with you. On the website, the donation details are all provided, like the bank details, the UPI ID, and all of that. So whether you're in India or abroad, you can use those details to make the donation.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you so much for giving us time. And
I know with the upcoming Hanuman Pratishta, it would have been really busy with your schedule, and we are glad that we could get some amount of your time, and you could share us your insights and about the Pranava Kshetra project as well. We look forward to more conversations with you.
So this we are trying to help create a movement where people can move from self-centric or human-centric to life-centric way of life, right? So now, yes, we are also important. So once we've established ourselves in certain way, it's the next part of our evolution is going towards life-centric approach. So uh, we really wish and hope that you will also join us in the movement towards creating more transformative spaces and transformation across the planet. And Hanuman is that exciting force that came into our life in that part of the journey. So I hope you will also be a part of that consecration. So you're all invited. We are really looking forward to you here on that day. If you cannot make it, we really hope that your live, you get to watch live on that day. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Akka and Anna. It's been a pleasure because you guys are so cool on Instagram, but I
no, no, no.
you're a bit of an inspiration for me, really.
When we came across it, it was like we hitting gold. My eyes certainly felt that way, and especially you talking about samyama and the food aspects, it has really helped me as well. And I look forward to more positive pranic the food style, living style, the sessions, and also probably we can talk a bit more in depth in the upcoming sessions with you. If you could give us some time for the podcast.
Definitely, Akka. Definitely. Thank you very much.
Probably everything after the Pratishta.
Yes, after the Pratishta. Yeah. Yes,
So
definitely.
May 4th, and yeah.
Yes, Akka, definitely. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Namaskar. Namaskaram.